Hello, today I'm going to be reviewing this Canon EF 70 to 300 millimeter lens. I've had this for about 10 years, so I'll go over the pros and cons and any secret tips that I've learned during that time. Now, as you can tell, this is only one lens that I have in my arsenal. Sorry about the focus there. So this is a pretty good lens, right? It's in the EF line, so it's kind of like the mid-level, maybe you would consider it like the top end for hobby lenses. The lowest line being the EFS and then the highest being the L. So in terms of this versus the EFS, this would be for someone who is interested in photography and knows they like photography. So if you're getting this as a gift for someone, you would want to go with the EFS if you have no idea whether they like photography or not. That's for someone who's testing the waters. If someone knows that they want to get into photography and they're not doing it commercially, this is what you want to do. Now, this could be used for commercial purposes like wedding photography, just like photo shoots, things like that. If you're going to do like hardcore product photography for a major corporation, then you might want to go for the L line. In regards to the L line, this is, at first glance, you pick this up, it seems kind of heavy, but it is made of plastic, whereas the L line is made of metal, so that's an even heavier lens. So this may feel kind of bulky and heavy to someone who hasn't really gotten into photography, but this is actually quite light compared to some of the heavier, more expensive metal lenses. Having said that, again, this is plastic, and so anytime you're dealing with the lenses, you want to be very careful. You always want to keep the cover on the front and the back. You don't want to touch the lenses because you can scratch them and then you'll permanently ruin every photo you take thereafter. So you want to be very careful with the lenses. You don't want to drop these. So you always want to handle these with care. That's why it's good to have some kind of case or something like that in case you're going to be moving around a lot, especially if you're going to be swapping out lenses. So I usually take this case with me when I'm doing like a pretty obvious shoot, or if I'm walking around. I don't usually take all of these. I have a camera backpack, but I don't usually take them all because they have specific uses. Now for this one, because it has a focal length of 70 to 300 millimeters, that means this is good for things like maybe you want to do some portraiture, some wildlife shots, some action shots, or maybe sports, for example. So that's really good for this lens. What it's not so good for is something like a landscape, because it's not a wide angle, so you're not going to get like the full landscape view. You're going to get a very specific section. So if you wanted to zoom in on a mountain, this would be good for that. If you wanted to zoom in on a sports player, or you want to get like up close to someone's face, this is what this is good for. Because it has that large range of focal length from 70 to 300, this is a pretty versatile camera. It does have image stabilization, which is really nice. It has an ultrasonic motor, which means it's really fast. It's quiet with the autofocus, which is good for if you're trying to not be loud around like animals or wildlife, anything like that. You don't want to spook them. It is good for video. However, I haven't personally taken video with it, so I can't speak to how good it is. But that's one of the benefits of that USM or ultrasonic motor. So keep that in mind. If you're someone who does video, this should be good for it. I just can't attest to it because I'm not a video person. I'm a photography person. This has a really good image quality. Like I said, it is pretty lightweight comparably. It is compact. So when I'm out and about, I can put this, I usually put it vertically in here, and then I'll usually take this wide angle lens with me. And those are usually the two that I'm taking with me, and they can both fit in here. So that's really good. The way it works is, might be kind of hard to do this with one hand, but you just twist this cap off. This is the back cap. And then when you have your camera here, you just kind of line it up there and then twist it, and then it'll click, right? There we go. And then, so now that's in here. If you want to take it out, you just press this button and pull. You just twist and pull. You can't do it with one hand. And then you take this front cap off just by pinching these little things. And then you got your camera off. One thing I recommend getting, I don't remember if this came with it or not because I've had it so long, but it is a good idea to have a microfiber cloth, and so you can just get any dust or smudges off of there in case they happen to be on there. Always keep the cap on when you're not using it, just because you don't want to risk something touching the lens. They're very sensitive. Another thing too, if you're out traveling, you can kind of see here these tape marks where I had tape on here. It's a good idea to cover the Canon logo when you're out, just because it's a very popular brand and it can attract thieves because they'll think this is a very good camera or a good lens, right? So that's just another secret tip. Cover this with just black electric tape while you're out, if you're out in a tourist area that may be kind of questionable. What else? This doesn't have weather sealing, so you want to be careful not to get it wet. That could be a con if you're trying to do stuff outside. You might need an umbrella during bad weather. What else? Oh yeah, the f-stop on here isn't that great. So this is not the best lens for nighttime shots. If you're working at night with the long exposure, this isn't going to be the best choice for that. There are other lenses that are better for that. But generally speaking, this is a really good all-purpose lens because it has that big focal length range. And so if you're going to get a lens that is your first lens, this is a really good one for that, especially in this line. Okay, so last thoughts here. I don't have it here to show, but if you find that you're getting some lens flare, it could be a good idea to carry a lens hood with you. And then also I want to point out, like, this is technically a telephoto lens. It's not like a super max zoom that you see someone who's going to go do photography of like snow leopards or something that's very like a very scared animal that just like runs away if it hears anything. So this isn't one of those super long lenses, but you could see it does stick out quite a bit. So you can get some pretty good shots with this, but you're not going to have that max zoom of a giant telephoto that's like big and bulky. So this is kind of for most people, this is going to be the longest lens that you would want to have on your camera. But yeah, like I said, I've had this 10 years. It's been a great lens, and I highly recommend it if you don't have it. Again, this is good for anyone who knows they like photography and doesn't want to bump up to that L lens class. And, you know, this is the top hobby. You can definitely make money with this lens. So anyways, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching.